interviewing is hard. It's like a lot harder than it needs to be probably. I mean, you're a good candidate, you're good at what you do, you want a new job, you have everything you need, but then they hire another candidate. In today's video, I'm going to give you 12 common reasons why they hired somebody else instead of you. That way you can learn from them, you can make the changes you need, and next time you can be the candidate they hire. Let's go. Now, one of the big things that is a small differentiator between closely qualified candidates is clarity and impact on the resume. So when you think about your resume, right, what is it? Is it something you put a lot of time into, or is it something you haphazardly touch up every now and then? Well, when you have two candidates and their backgrounds are similar, their skills are similar, education, everything that matters to them is similar, one of the things that can be a tiebreaker on occasion is the resume. If somebody has in there, it's clear what they've done, it is more in line with the role, more closely from an experience standpoint, and then they've also quantified their impact. That could be a reason why they've hired the other candidate. Now, quantifying your impact means you look at what you've actually done for your company. So think of your role. Think of the most impactful thing you did. Well, you could actually add that to your resume. By implementing this cost savings, save my company $250,000 over the course of 2 quarters, etc., right? Maybe that's not applicable to you, but think about how you have actually made an impact. I call this your impact list. But that is just one of the reasons why they might get to the very end of the process, have 2 very closely qualified candidates, and they look at what's separating them. What is the differentiator here? And if somebody has a resume that's way more closely in line, maybe they do a really good job of quantifying the impact they have had at previous companies, that could be used as a tiebreaker. Now, the next thing that is often used as a tiebreaker and could be the reason they hired the other candidate is that candidate has the achiever pattern. So the achiever pattern is something that you can see in someone's resume, their LinkedIn profile, or just through talking with them. But basically, it's a pattern throughout their career of achieving. So maybe you see in their past job, they were promoted 3 times. Maybe you see in their school, they were part of the dean's list, or they had a 4.0, or they took on internships. Maybe you see they volunteer in their free time. Whatever it is, like, these are different things. There are different things that people look for that they call achiever pattern. But when you see a candidate who's done a lot of impressive things, right? They've been promoted, they've climbed the ladder, they've had an impact at where they're going, they've kind of gone above and beyond, and that is clear. Talking to them, looking at the information you have, well, the best predictor of the future is past, right? It's past experiences. So when you want to think, hey, what kind of candidate is going to be more successful? Any candidate who has the achiever pattern, a pattern of achieving higher than their peers, whether it's in schooling, their work, what have you, that is something that could be a differentiator. Another big differentiator could be the reason why they hire the other candidate instead of you is that candidate has a broader set of experience. So you might look at, just say for a recruiter, for example, a recruiter could be someone who's like just recruiting in one industry, right? Like, I only recruit accountants, that's it. Well, that's good, but if that recruiter is interviewing for a role and their competition goes, yeah, I've recruited accountants, but I've also recruited engineers, I've recruited in biotech, I've recruited in IT, and they're equally as qualified in every other way, well, where would you lean? Sometimes the thing that allows a candidate to be the one that gets chosen and gets a job offer is when you look at their experience, it is broader. They have a broader base of experience. So they've experienced different industries. Maybe they've been in a few different roles that allows them superior understanding of the role they're applying for. Just having a broader range of relevant experience, skills, knowledge, certifications, education, etc. That broader range of experience and ability, that could be the reason you didn't get the job. Now, a huge one, and this plays an inordinate factor into your success, but it's good news if you're here, it's interviewing skill, right? So I can't tell you how many times I have interviewed people and I can tell that this person is great at their job, right? Maybe it's someone in IT and they go through and they talk about, all the skills they have. Their resume, it's clear. They have all the acronyms, they have all the language. They are very skilled at what they do. But there is someone else who is just a much better interviewer. That stuff matters. Probably matters a lot more than it should, because you're not hiring a professional interviewer, you're hiring a professional coder or developer, or architect, whatever. But it matters. So one of the things that could be separating you and other candidates who are getting the job, and the reason they hired the other candidate is maybe they are just a much better interviewer. They have practiced, they've watched a bunch of videos on Ben Talks Talent, and now they are coming to the interview just absolutely prepared. It might not seem fair, and it might seem a bit counterintuitive, but the reality is, if you go into an interview and you have rehearsed a bunch of your answers, you know the things that you need to highlight in terms of your impact at past employers, and you're just absolutely ready to go in there and nail the interview. When you compare that to a similarly qualified candidate who maybe didn't put in the time, the research, the effort and preparation, you have a massive advantage. One of the things that's also a huge differentiator is just role alignment, right? So when you look at the job description and you look at the must-haves, if you look at that and you're like, oh man, I've got 4 out of 5, but another candidate has all 5, like it is clear, like they are really well qualified. That's another huge one. I know a lot of hiring managers who put a bunch of things in the must-haves, and they're not really all must-haves. And sometimes you'll get a candidate who has like half of them and they're like, wow, that was a really good candidate. And they get another candidate who has all of them. And maybe, just maybe, they're like, I could easily hire both of these candidates. But this candidate, well, they have all the job requirements. That's another reason why maybe the other candidate got the job. Now, one of the hardest things to control, because it's actually not in your control whatsoever, but it happens all the time, is there are 3 types of candidates who have a distinct disadvantage perhaps over you. Internal candidate, right? So if they're in the company already, they are a known commodity, they're applying, that could be a reason they chose the other candidate. If they are referral, so somebody in the organization says, I know this person, they're great, I worked with them previously, they have a significant advantage over you, that could be a reason they chose the other candidate. And the last one is boomerang candidate. So somebody who was there for a while, did a good job, left, and now they want to come back. That candidate also has a massive advantage. So those are 3 specific types of candidates who have a better shot of getting a job, and that maybe is a reason they chose the other candidate. Now, the next thing that could be a differentiator is one of the candidates does a really good job of showing their problem-solving ability. Now, there is not a hiring manager out there in the world that doesn't want to hire someone who's going to solve their problems. So if you as a candidate really don't touch on the problems you've solved or how you've helped your manager or how you've gone above and beyond to figure things out that maybe weren't part of your job, but you did it, and another candidate does, they stand a significant advantage getting an offer over you. So it's one of those things that you want to consider. When you're getting ready and you're doing interview prep and you're ready to interview for a job, are you thinking about problems you've solved? Are you writing them down? I solved this problem, I solved this problem, I solved this problem, because I am telling you, all hiring managers want to see that. It is a way that you can absolutely give yourself an advantage as a candidate. Now, this is another one that is a big differentiator. You don't have a lot of control over it, but industry alignment. If you've been around a bunch of different industries and some of the work you have done isn't relevant, and you're going up against a candidate who absolutely is like spot on from an industry alignment perspective, it is going to be very hard to beat that candidate. You are going to have to be very well prepared. You're going to be able to talk to your impact, the problems you've solved. You're going to have to do all that really well to beat a candidate who just has absolutely spot on industry alignment. But that could be another reason they chose another candidate. Now, when you're looking at a job description, there are the must-haves, and then below that, there are the nice-to-haves, right? And if you have all the must-haves, you should absolutely apply if you want that job. But imagine you get to the very end of the job, very end of the interview process, right? And you've got a candidate with all the must-haves, but then you have this candidate and they have all the must-haves and all the nice-to-haves. So you have the things where they're like, hey, you don't have to have this, but if you had blank, whoo, that would be good. That candidate might have all those. So if you're talking about the perfect, ideal candidate, all the must-haves, all the nice-to-haves, and you're like, well, I have a couple of the nice-to-haves and most, if not all of the must-haves, that's another reason they might go with that candidate. It's just a tiny bit stronger alignment in the nice-to-haves that really are cherries on top, but they matter. One of the things that's a real positive when you're interviewing candidates is they demonstrate the desire to be a continued learner. I'm a lifelong learner, right? I'm the type of person who's continuing. I got a certification like a month ago. I've been in recruitment for 12 years, but I'm still doing it because it's important. I got my MBA like 2 or 3 years ago to help with my business acumen. Those things matter. So let's just say all things being equal, you're looking at candidate A and candidate B. Candidate A has done a really good job. They've progressed through their career. Everything's good. But candidate B has done all those things, but they are continuing to learn. They have a passion around their industry, around their role, and they're continuing to try to better themselves outside of their work. They're reading books, they're taking courses, they're on Khan Academy, they're getting certifications, they're going to Toastmasters, whatever it is. You look at one resume, you look at the other, and this one, they are trying to get better. That right there, that is a reason why maybe they've chosen the other candidate. Now, this is another big one, and it is bigger than it has ever been, and that is candidate A, the candidate they chose, has a stronger value or cultural alignment. So companies, as well as candidates nowadays, are totally putting a premium on culture and value alignment and building good teams. So imagine you have two candidates, and one of the candidates has everything, another of the candidates has everything, but one of these two candidates possesses really strong value alignment. They've gone to the About Us page, they've looked at the company's values, and in the interview, they're bringing them up saying, oh, I really loved your values page. It really resonated with me. To me, and let's just say the value is passion. I saw that one of your values is passion. I'm an incredibly passionate person. The work I do matters to me. So sharing that value alignment with you, well, that would be ideal for me as a candidate. Just imagine that. You get these two candidates, they're equally qualified. One person says nothing about the cultural values, and the other person says, we are in lockstep. Who are you choosing? That could be another reason why they chose the other candidate. Now, the last reason why I'm going to give you, and I have seen this happen numerous times, so if anybody is still watching, they go, Ben, that wouldn't happen. Respectfully, I disagree with you. It does happen. Stronger hobby/passion alignment, okay? Whatever you want to call it, but I have placed a lot of engineers in my day. And I have had a lot of conversations with hiring managers, and they go, yeah, Ben, anybody in their free time who tinkers with cars, someone like that would be great. Why do they say that to me? Well, I'll tell you why they say it to me. It's because they want someone who cares about the work. It's not just a job to them, it genuinely interests them. They want someone who's gonna show up to work and be intrigued by the problems they have to solve. So if you can demonstrate that you have an interest in what they're doing outside of your job, and there's passion, you have hobbies around it, you're coding in your free time, I made apps in my free time, they're just gonna look at that as a huge plus. You are someone who is clearly gonna be passionate about what they do. There isn't a hiring manager in the world who doesn't wanna hire somebody who is passionate about their job. Trust me. There you have it, that's the video. If you are new here and you are still watching, I gotta tell you, you're 12 and a half minutes into this video. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe. This is a sign. If you are a subscriber and you watched all the way to the end, man, do I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking around. You're the best. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.